Thank you, Councillor Louie and members of council. I'm Doug Halverson, and most of us have met before. I was president of Sun Yat-sen Garden in 2010 when I first appeared right here, and it was concerning the Keefer Triangle. And tonight I'm here as a private citizen and also a participant in the Vancouver Chinatown Revitalization Committee from time to time, and I'm opposed to the zoning. I want to start by acknowledging Joe Way tonight, but I also want to acknowledge staff and council because both worked so much on the same stuff. I considered both of them and threw myself into the package as progressives who want Vancouver to be a better place. And this discussion, I think, has been really hard on us all because it's taken people who've worked so much, council's done so much on revitalization in Chinatown, and now there's a lot of us who are uncomfortable being in the same place together, and that's a shame when that happens. But we have to motor on. In January 2010, Council heard the first round of public submissions on the general idea of taller buildings in Chinatown. And the future of Keefer Triangle was especially contentious because of the visual impact it would have on the Dr. Sun Yat-sen Garden and on historic Pender Street, which has since then been recognized as a National Historic Site. And after the speakers finished, Council passed this motion. Further, that the Keefer Triangle site is not supported by Council as a higher building site, and further, that the heights above the base zoning height of 90 feet on this site would be of concern due to potential impacts. To my knowledge, this motion has never been rescinded by Council, but it certainly isn't apparent in the zoning documents that followed in 2011. And the Keefer Triangle no longer appeared as a potential site for taller buildings in those documents, but Council's explicit non-support was also missing. So that just disappeared. Now I understand those kind of motions have a right to disappear. But whatever the reason for the change, whatever led you to vote unanimously against the taller building on the site in 2010 remains the same tonight. There are few buildings on Pender Street taller than 60 feet. I say few, I don't know of any, but there might be one, so I'll say few to be safe. The proposed building tonight would loom over its surroundings, even if its skinnier shoulders now make it appear to be less of a building than originally. According to the proponent, the proposed building will now include 25 units, and this is from the proponent's website, of low to moderate income seniors housing. And when I read that, and I've learned some things here tonight, but when I read it, I thought, isn't that amazing that rental housing available to people, affordable to seniors with moderate income, would be considered a community benefit in Vancouver. I'd hope, and I know this is we all struggle with this, but surely we'd like a city where one could build housing that was moderate. I have a hard time seeing that as a community benefit, however. Anyway, whatever deal is worked out to allow the low and moderate income seniors to place in Chinatown, the community concession will be to allow a building 3 stories taller than otherwise allowed, taking the building to double the height of its historic neighbors. No matter how faded the tones of the architectural renderings or the model, those 3 stories will dominate the historic district, just as the new Main Street buildings, and I see them on the model too, now dominate Main and Keefer Street. When we sat around talking about those general zoning changes, we never had, we at least lay people like myself, couldn't imagine what we were thinking would be good. 7 years ago, Chinatown needed economic stimulus. Encouraging residential development made sense, and it still does, but it's a matter of degree. We now see land assembly and the promise of greater densities pushing property values so high that property taxes are driving out small business. Property assessments increased 1/3 to 1/2 between 2015 and 2016. It's especially problematic for Chinatown, whose very character is dependent on independent retailers.
So you're at your 5 minutes?
I'm at my 5 minutes.